My name is John Stacey with the Game Manufacturers Association, and I'm here today to kick off our brand new program, Friendly Local Game Store Day, where each month we're going to be spotlighting game stores across the country. Our guest today is Kylie Prymus, who is our first victim, if you will, on this program. Kylie is a longtime member of the industry with his store in Pittsburgh. So welcome, Kylie. Tell us about you and about the store.
Thanks, John. I'm glad to be on. As John mentioned, my name is Kylie. I'm the owner of Games Unlimited in Pittsburgh, which is a store that's been in business since 1979. So this will be our 42nd year. I got into tabletop gaming about 10 years ago. Before that, I was a big video gamer, and I was in grad school writing philosophical articles about video games. But when I discovered tabletop gaming through the game Battlestar Galactica, which I wouldn't recommend be someone's first board game if they haven't played modern games. But I just sort of fell head over heels in love with tabletop gaming, and the Friendly Local Game Store that was about a block and a half away from where I was living was Games Unlimited here in Pittsburgh. So I started going in there all the time, really got to know the owner, Bob. It's a store that had been there at that point, for over 30 years. And it looked like it had been there for over 30 years. Just a tiny hole in the wall, about 1,000 square feet, packed to the rafters with games, everything you could think of. So I myself was underemployed at the time, working at a coffee shop across the street. And after about a year of frequently buying games, playing everything I get my hands on, I told my wife, I said, maybe I should think about opening a game store. And she encouraged me to say, go talk to Bob. I was nervous about that. I was like, I'm not trying to step on your toes. But Bob at the time was in his late 60s. He never, didn't have any children. So when I mentioned it to him, he said, well, I'm hoping to retire soon. Do you want to come on staff, learn the business, and I'll sell the business to you. So I did that in 2015. I took over the business, and Bob is still around and spends the vast majority of his time babysitting my kids. He's become a surrogate grandfather to them, so he still has his hand a little bit in knowing what's going on with the store. So we during COVID, like most stores, we shut down. We were shut down for almost 8 weeks. No curbside delivery. Pennsylvania, we weren't allowed to do curbside or anything. We were just completely shut down. And I knew when we reopened, because it was such a tight store, like I said, less than 1,000 square feet. I mean, it was not ADA compliant. The aisles were like 1.5 feet wide. I knew that there was going to be no way I could reopen the store and safely do social distancing. And I had been considering moving the business to somewhere larger. But of course, as soon as COVID happened, I figured that's off of the table. That's not going to happen this year. But an opportunity came available for a new space in a much higher traffic location and a much larger building. So we ended up moving and opening our doors in the new space in November 1 of last year. And it's been a phenomenal move. I know a lot of game retailers, and it's really been up or down this year for a lot of people. Some stores are thriving. I mean, they can barely have enough staff to handle the business they're doing, and other stores are going under, and there's really no rhyme or reason to it, I think. But we've done really well with this move. We moved from, 1,000 square feet to essentially we have 10,000 square feet now. It's a 3-story building. It's about 3,400 square feet on each floor. We only opened the first floor because we were just trying to get everything figured out to open for the holiday season. So we're still only open on the first floor. Our hope is to open part of the second floor for more retail space in the late spring, early summer, and then maybe have some gaming space when that's safe to do so, hopefully by the end of the year. It's an interesting thing because we've never done that. We're a little bit outside the norm for a lot of game stores, in that we never ran events or had table space or anything like that. So it's going to be a new adventure for us to have a place where we can run role-playing sessions and demo games and maybe do tournaments and things like that.
I'm curious, you're talking about the one about the pandemic where you made the move, chose to move to a larger venue. How did you keep your community together through 2020 when your doors weren't open? And how are you keeping your fans engaged? I'm just curious how you survived through 2020.
Yeah, well, so during the time that we were shut down, I did a lot of not live streaming, I guess, but we would run over Zoom roll and write style games, the sort of games that work well for a group over Zoom. Games like Isle of Cats and Cartographers and things like that. So I would set up events through our Facebook page was the primary way that our fans engage with us, and through our newsletter, and say, hey, print out this sheet, hop on the Zoom call. I set up the little camera, and just that was a way, especially in the early days of the pandemic, when people were like, I'm not seeing my friends, I'm not gaming. We'd have at one of the events, we had like 20 people on, and we're just, we're chatting and we're playing this game. And for me, it was, the worry that a lot of retailers had is, if we're shut down, people are going to buy their games online when they can, and that's going to create a new habit, right? They're going to get used to buying their games that way. They might not come back. So I really just did everything in my power to try to engage. At one point, I was doing daily Facebook Lives, just talking about the games in my personal game collection. I had nothing else to do. So every day, we're going to go through this shelf, and I'll talk about every single game that's on this shelf. Again, just as a way to keep people engaged. We also did a company that's local here in Pittsburgh, where they do things nationally. They came up with something called a loyalty bond. So, a lot of stores, ourselves included, were really pushing people to buy gift cards, right? Because you buy a gift card, that could help us get some money now. But the biggest problem with the gift cards is, well, yeah, maybe I can sell a bunch of gift cards while we're closed, but the moment I open my doors, all those gift cards are going to be redeemed, and you're sort of just pushing the problem of your cash flow down a month or two. So this company worked with us to do almost like a Kickstarter, but for gift cards. So people, if someone bought $100 worth of gift cards from me, they would get $140 worth of gift cards, but they get them in 4 installments over the next couple of years. So it was really about the community wanting to come together. I was very honored that they trusted that we're still going to survive. We're going to be here in 2 years to redeem all these gift cards for them. And that was really good and helped us stay afloat during that time.
That's a real cool program. And so it's almost like a continuity program, right? You say so every 6 months or so, we get another gift card and encourage you to come to the store and hopefully use that gift card plus buy something else, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that was
upsell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So with the move, I guess, what has surprised you the most about going from a 800, 900 square foot store to a 10,000 square foot store operationally with your staff, your team?
Yeah, everything's new to me. The biggest surprise, we hoped, so we're moving to a bigger space. We're obviously, I never did a big build out in my old space because the space was old, it was falling apart. I didn't want to sink money into that location. But we also moved to a much higher traffic area. So I knew we were going to get a lot more foot traffic. I'll tell you the biggest surprise, we've been in business over 40 years. In my head, I assume anyone in the Pittsburgh area knows who we are. If you're a board gamer, because that's really what we focus on. If you're a tabletop gamer, you know who we are. We obviously do a little bit of advertising and things. So I expected a lot of the people walking by are not going to be gamers. I'm going to have to figure out a lot of how do we engage these people, introduce them to some gateway games, get something in their hands because they're not necessarily going to know the product. And we started having people just come out who are obviously gamers. They're buying $200-$300 worth of heavy games, and they've never heard of us. They're like, "Where did you guys come from? I'm so glad you opened up." And I'm like, "Where have all these gamers in Pittsburgh been?" So it's been a very pleasant surprise to see that. For me personally, the biggest change is I've had to hire more staff, which is, again, a very good problem to have during the pandemic. I'm no longer on the sales floor. It used to be when I took over, it was basically a one-person operation. We'd have one person. The store's open 8 hours a day, so one person would just operate the store. Maybe have a second person during busy times on the weekend. Now we have 2 or 3 people on staff all the time. And so I don't get to interact with customers as much as I used to. So I kind of miss that. But that's why I'm going to try to do some live streaming, do some other things like that, just to keep my hand.
So before we actually go out and see this new space, I had a couple questions about, because obviously we're GAMA, Game Manufacturers Association, and you were on our GRD board. Can you tell a little bit about that and what you do as the retail board?
Yeah, so the retail division of GAMA is a place for retailers to find out, to help each other, to have good networking opportunities with publishers, with manufacturers, with distributors. So I came on the board last year and was just reelected. And what I really like about GAMA is the opportunities that it's given me, not only to learn and grow my business, because I'll be honest, the first time I went to a GAMA show, I thought I knew everything there was. I was a little arrogant, and within like 4 hours of being there, just the stuff I learned blew my mind. And then just interfacing with other retailers, one, learning how they're doing things, getting good advice there, and then the opportunity just to meet and learn from manufacturers, publishers, distributors. Those connections are very crucial to this ecosystem that gaming has. I know a lot of customers probably don't realize that, but there's this whole ecosystem of producers and distributors and game stores, a lot that goes into a game, going from the designer's idea to actually being on the table in your house. And the more I can understand that ecosystem, the more other retailers can understand it, not to mention publishers, just the better off we're all doing. So it's been a wonderful thing to be a part of, and one of the reasons why I want to continue to help the organization grow and help other retailers, and at the end of the day, just help more people be gaming.
Absolutely, cool. Well, let's go see your store. You're going to walk us around, tell us a little about it, and I'm really excited to see the new space.
Put my mask on. Who was it? McGonagall. I don't know the screen name, but I'm sure I know the person. All right, I'm going to put on my mask, and so I'm actually on the second floor, which is right. I'm not going to show you the second floor because it's kind of like our lunch area, and it's not pretty. But I can go out the side door and sort of bring you in the main entrance of the store. So hopefully you all can hear me while I do this, because it's a nice day and there's a lot of people down there. So see what we got. All right. Oh, it's Don. Hi, Don. All right, so let me turn my camera around here. There we go. Okay, so this is actually like a set of emergency stairs that goes out, which eventually we're hoping to use this as like a side entrance that could go up to the gaming area on the second floor. But so this is this.
Yep, so be a second here while he's transitioning from his office space to outside. So be a second here. I think that's always the magic of tech, right? When it works, it's great. And so we'll be a pause here.
Slogan put on top, transom. And that's what was come up with. It says, unbox some fun. Someone else came up with doing this peace, love, and meeple. So I actually gave both of them $100 store credit for that. So this is our main floor. Pretty hopping today because it's Saturday. The weather's open. Of course, we have everyone, masks are required. We've got several hand sanitizer stations throughout. As you come in, a big thing for us is demos. We usually have about 10 different games set up on demo tables around the store. So right now we've got Cubitos, which has been very popular. This new Oriflamme is nice. And I also keep running video. We're running videos of the 10 games that we have out. So customers might see a little bit of it on the video, and then they'll see it out there. Our staff can talk about it. So here's our protector, which is the giant Cthulhu, letting everybody know that not only do you need to wear a mask, but you're on camera. And this is Amiri. I won't interrupt him, but Amiri actually worked for Games Unlimited when I first started coming into the store. So he didn't work for us for a long time, but I brought him back on recently. So he's got a lot of history with the store. And as I mentioned, we're actually live streaming right now on our Twitch stream. So we're showing people how to play Stay Cool over there, which is kind of fun. This is our first day doing something like that. I mentioned too, so second floor, we have it all closed off for the winter, but eventually these will be the stairs that lead up to the second floor retail area. Right now, it's a bunch of wingspans come to roost. That's where they fly south to for the winter. And so a big part of this space was that open exposed brick. We love this brickwork. We love the industrial feel of it. So we really kept that by, doing the piping for the shelves, the nice wooden shelves with the piping down there, and setting up, what do you call those? Chalkboards. So we can change out the different sections, whether we want roll and write games to have their own section, trick-taking games, etc. And all of these displays actually existed in the old store or were rotting in the basement of the old store. We just cleaned them up a little bit. If I come over here, you can see these were also displays in the old store. They're old jewelry cases. So we use these to set out demos of games, with lots of pieces that we don't necessarily want to move around. We've got cooperative games have their own section. Two-player games have their own section. Doesn't show up well on camera. This space used to be a bike and running store. So they had this lighted wall full of shoes. That's how they displayed their shoes. So I said, you got to leave the lighted wall. We want to use the lighted wall because we want to put dice on there. Like I said, it doesn't show up well on camera, but it's a really cool display that we have. As we move on back, this is all of our used games. We do a thriving used game business. And role playing, so eventually when we move up to the second floor, we're going to move role playing up to the second floor, move miniatures into the second floor, give them a bit more space, and probably turn this corner into a children's game area so we can have some children's game out for display. And then another thing that's always been a part of Games Unlimited is Jigsaw Puzzles. So we have what we call the Puzzle Nook back here now, which have been a difficult thing to get in during the pandemic. Puzzles were very, very popular for people to do at home. So yeah, I think that's about what there is to see as far as the current iteration of Games Unlimited. You can see much more than 1.5 feet to walk in. Lots of nice space so that people can keep their distance from each other. And yeah, that's it. I don't know if you have any questions, John, while I'm down here. Otherwise, I'll head back up.
No, that's great. I appreciate you taking time walking through the store. Looks really great. I can't wait to go to Pittsburgh and check it out. It's only a couple-hour drive from here in Columbus, so definitely on my rotation, stop by there and see. I want to see that lighted wall because I want to see the dice come out on there.
It's really cool. Chess. So for those of you that don't know, chess has also been impossible to get a hold of the past few months because of the Queen's Gambit. We sold out of every single chess set. All of our suppliers have a very difficult time getting chess. So, all right, I'm going to head back up. Move my camera around. There you go.
You mentioned you got 3 floors?
We have 3 floors, yeah. So heading up to the second floor. Actually, you know what? I'll head up to the 3rd floor. You can see the nice view. Well, I can show you from the 2nd floor because this is where we're going to eventually have the gaming area. So again, I apologize. It's a mess right now. I didn't expect company. But this is going to be the gaming area where we'll have tables set up. But what I really like about it is that we have these nice, huge windows to look down on Forbes Avenue at Squirrel Hill. So it's going to be a really fun place to be, I think.
Great. And then what are your plans for the 3rd floor?
Well, we're not sure yet. So we actually purchased the building, so we're not in any hurry to need to make it work, all the square footage to make money yet. So options that we've looked at, possibly my wife and I moving up there with our kids. My wife's not super fond of that idea. That's one possibility, or turning it into loft apartments that we could either rent out or Airbnb. Like we even thought about like a gaming B&B. You could have a package of something like that. also just using it as event space. There aren't a lot of great event spaces right now in this area. So, and the third floor, when this place was the bike store, was there like exercise classes and stuff. So actually the third floor mezzanine has like nice flooring already down for doing yoga and things like that. So yeah, possibly doing just community event space up there for various things. Someone threw out the escape room idea. I'm not so sure on that. But yeah, we have lots of options.
As you mentioned, the apartment up there, there's a local brewery here in Columbus who's actually created a Airbnb. It's a beer themed hotel attached to the brewery, and so they actually have with the kegerators inside the rooms where they'll actually rotate the different beers that they're making on site in the rooms. This part of your package is included, unlimited beer. But it'd be kind of fun having a board game themed Airbnb. We can actually unlimited games to play or something. That'd be kind of sweet.
And the brewery thing is also something we looked into. So Pennsylvania doesn't have very many of the like board gaming bars because our liquor license things are expensive and difficult to get. There was one, unfortunately, there was one here in Pittsburgh that opened. I think they opened their doors October of 2019. So they were open for a few months and the pandemic hit, and unfortunately they ended up having to go out of business. But there are ways without a full liquor license you could do brew pub type things. So that's something else that's been talked about as a possible thing. So maybe using all 3 floors and have some food and a little bit of that restaurant bar type atmosphere. We'll see.
Yeah, it's cool to have options, right?
See what we've done.
Yeah, we've only got a few minutes left in this segment. Anything else you want to close with? Anything you want to share with other retailers or with the audience?
I mean, as far as the retailers listening, I know it's been an incredibly difficult year. I've come out of it better than when I started. I don't know why, because I know a lot of retailers have not had that fortune. Just persevere if you can. If you're a retailer, you know why you're doing this. You love games, you love the community. I have seen so much love come from our community during this time. That's just really made me know that I'm doing the right thing. And yeah, that's about all I got.
Well, that's great. Again, thank you very much, Kylie. I appreciate your time this afternoon, and I really enjoyed the walkthrough of your store. I'm looking forward to coming and checking it out in person. So you take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, John. Take care, everybody.
Great. So the second half of our program, we're going to bring in a different guest. We get Adam Lawson with the Failed Superhero Club. It's a relatively new publishing company. He is the creator of the game Asunder. And so I want to welcome Adam and tell us about yourself, Adam.
Hey, John, how you doing? So I recently jumped into the publishing world. I work in television, and I'm the producer and director of Will Wheaton's Tabletop for all 4 seasons. It's really a special ride, and that's what I'd always loved gaming growing up. But it was making that show, and we'd get about 400 games a year submitted. I'd play them. They'd show 80 to Will, pick 20, and we'd make the show. Right? Gave this deep love of gaming, and over that time, I thought, man, I want to start making my own games and publishing them. So that began that journey for me. And then we did Titan's Grave, and I directed Spell Slingers, and sort of all of this, the whole litany of celebrity-focused board gaming television. And I thought, man, I would love to be able to make that game that gets played. And so I've been cooking up this tabletop RPG, Asunder, for several years. And when the pandemic hit, it felt like the perfect time because television shut down to say, hey, this is the time to launch the publishing company. So I launched 2 graphic novels and 2 games on Kickstarter in 2020, heck of a year, all to great success. I did 1 game based on my television show, Escape the Night, which had great success. And then this tabletop RPG, Asunder, which has been a really special ride, and to have all of them launched to great success and to get this publishing company up and running on its feet. And so in as difficult as 2020 was, it afforded me the time to focus on building the publishing company. So So that's a bit about myself. Deep love of games and storytelling. Obviously, it's what I've chosen for my profession, and the idea of being, the creator or co-creator of games, and then also being the publisher behind them, and hopefully in the future to do more, and to be able to bring in other people's games. But and I think that the desire of making a handcrafted experience where the game had all the love and expertise and art direction and passion I could pour into them. So that's the Failed Superheroes Club, and that's in our first tabletop RPG is Asunder, and this is a dark fantasy RPG set in a dying world with no metal. I can share an image here with you that I think shows some of the product here. So this is it's a fully realized RPG with 2 source books, one for players, one for keepers or GMs. We have custom dice, though the game is just played with a 20 and 6-sided dice. We have a keeper screen, we have a campaign module, and we have 9 beautiful, awesome minis that are unique to the world. The biggest one is even 6 inches tall. It's pretty rad. It says winged guy right here. It's called the Devourer. And so when crafting this game, there was a couple fabulous creators that worked with me. One is Brian Engard of Fate and Rob Schwa. And Rob Schwab. And this is then, I utilized his system for Shadow of the Demon Lord as what became the base for the Asunder RPG experience. And what I wanted to do with this game, and I know people have sort of referenced some dark sun elements because the world is harsh and there's no metal, that I wanted to create a role-playing experience that was reactive instead of me playing a fighter, right? That then as experiences happen and I just leveled up over time, but that the story shaped my abilities and my capabilities. And so in Asunder, we utilize a path system. So if along the story, John, I become addicted to demon blood, as one does in Asunder, I might assume the Ravager path, right, which gives you benefits, and now you're working with this addiction you've got to give you enhanced capabilities. And then maybe later in the story, I fall in with this secret society known as the Wooden Legion. And these are these huge wooden mech like suits, these guys, and they're the secret society that believes they have the answers for the end of the world. Then my character's path, I might take on the Wooden Legionnaire path and gain certain abilities and attributes based on that. So that the fun of it then for the keeper and the players is your character is a reaction to your story. And so in Asunder, there is no metal. The gods ripped it from the world, took it all away when they left to go fight their eons long war. And the essence was inside of people, and it bonded with different aspects of the world. And I will get this said to you in a far better way. My buddy Matthew Mercer voiced this really cool video we did to help promote, and I'm going to go ahead and share that video with you now.
The world is broken by the gods who gave it life, then abandoned it. We have been left to fend for ourselves, our divine essence bonding with the plants, which we reshaped into weapons, bonding with the sea, which then reshaped us. Next was the insects, and then the beasts of the land. We found remnants of the gods, chaos, the power to transform reality, but it was not meant for us to wield. The secret societies, with both noble and selfish goals, have tried to control it. Something has changed. Gaia has awoken from her slumber, and Asunder has begun to devour itself. The Naga have betrayed the Alliance. Demons flood the Black Isle, and the dead have begun to rise. Most deny the end is coming, but we've seen the signs, cannot turn back. We are the Seekers, and we will find the answers wherever they take us. Our story can be your story.
So that is, I think, is a nice setting for what the magic of the world Asunder is, and that we have this bio world where instead of crossbows, you have thorn spitters that live and grow on your arm. And when creating a character, you can roll, and I like to create characters randomly because once again, they're a reaction to the dice versus it just being what you had chosen. I'm going to be the ranger type, but it works both ways. When creating a character, you determine your origin, whether you are from Bakari. These people, their essence, this divine spark, it bonded with the beasts. And as a result, you have a bond mate, and that bond mate gives you certain abilities, and you form a symbiotic relationship with them, right? And maybe it's a panther, and you would gain their claws or their senses if it was a hawk. And then there are those who are on New Gaia, which is this unbelievable verdant plant world, and their essence bonded with the plants and fungi of that world. And they're able to reshape them into tools and machinery. And some of them even gain this plant bond, like where they become even more plant-like themselves as humans. Once again, that cool symbiotic relationship. Then there are people of Sky City, and their essence bonded with these Blyce crystals, which have an anti-gravity effect. Hence why their islands have made it into the sky. Once the metal was ripped out, they floated into the sky. And so as a result, they're able to manipulate gravity. And they live in this world where they're high above the ocean, and they can leap great distances in between these small little islands that float. And then there are those of New Gaia whose essence bonded with the insects. And once again, they can reshape them into different weapons and organisms. And then there are those of the Black Isle of the North, whose essence had no place to go. And so it went back inside themselves, and they have advanced control over their own bodies. They can resist unbelievable temperatures, and they can meld their minds to fight as one, as they have an endless war with the demons of the North. And then there are the seafarers who their essence dipped in with the water and sort of stayed in this constant mutation. So you can see this guy here in the center of our cover with the 4 arms. When a seafarer gains new strength, they don't just, their attribute go up, they would actually grow additional arms to emphasize this strength. They have these constant mutations. And then lastly were the people of the mainland, and they were the last of the humans, and their essence remained inside themselves. It did not leak out. And as a result, they've kept this, and they're, as a result, are more resilient, and they can use chaos. And chaos in this world is our ability to manipulate reality. But I wanted to build something where the price of doing something magic-like was devastating, and it was for the young. Because in this case, it is addictive. And when you use chaos, you get a high, and that affects your abilities. And when you stop using it, you get disadvantages. But the more you use chaos, the more you build up a thing called discord. And when that builds up too much, you can start to, your arm can become glass. You can explode at the worst scenario. So there is this, drug-like ride to manage chaos, because it's not meant for humans to wield. So these are the many amazing peoples that fill the world of Asunder. And we use a system of boons and banes. So it's a traditional D20 for actions. If I'm going to climb a wall, I'll roll 1 die 20 against a difficulty number. And that difficulty number, let's say it's a 10, I'm going to climb a wall. But that wall happens to be icy and there are spikes on it. So because of that, your keeper would say, hey, listen, that wall requires 2 banes. So then you would roll 1 die 20 and roll 2 die 6, take the highest of those 2 and subtract it from your D20 roll. So that's a bane. And then you have a boon, which is the opposite of that. Let's say you're trying to climb that same wall, but you had a profession as a burglar. So that would give you could say, hey, listen, I used to be a burglar. I climbed walls. You would add a boon and you roll 1 die 20 and then roll 1 die 6 and add it to that number. The fun part about that is it allows the keeper to give a lot of nuance in your storytelling. And that applies for social actions and attacks as well as physical actions. And in Asunder, the characters that you're playing are seekers. And the seekers are looking for answers to why the world is ending. This is the dark fantasy aspect of it, right? Is that seekers have seen the signs, maybe a vision, maybe they've seen the dead rise, maybe they've witnessed Gaia on a battlefield, and they've had this awakening moment that says, oh no, the world is ending, despite other people around me not believing it. And so when building your character, that is one of the key questions, is what do you seek? And as you gain answers to that, and as it changes what your character is after. Also, when you're in direct pursuit of it, you could get a boon on your rolls. So it's a nice way to build your personal motive into your role playing. And then our GMs are called keepers because they keep the secrets of the land, right? And you're seeking them. One of the cool aspects of the game is that there is a path called Wanderers, and they have learned that all of the secrets of the earth and all the history of Asunder lives within the earth, and that they can tap into that and revive memories from 1,000 years before. And so this is a world where an end is coming and there's an unknown past. So you're exploring it from both ends. The game is also built to be less exhaustive in regards to time commitment. And so it's only character paths are generally to level 10 is the top of character progression. And the idea being that you start at level 0 and you go up a level, generally speaking, with each play session or every other play session, depending on how much happens. So that way, over the course of a year, or 10 sessions, 10 to 12 sessions, you can play out a character. As I think we all know that, many times it's really tricky to get your play session together consistently, to take a character from 1 to 20. And so you can take bigger, bolder steps. And in Asunder, adventures start in the middle of action, right? You start with a knife to your throat. You don't start at a pub and find somebody needs a mercenary and then get in that situation. You start right in the heat of conflict so that you can accelerate gameplay. So there's also the world of Asunder is not a one and done experience. There's much to come. So there will be a skirmish game set in the world of Asunder that will be launching later this year. And it will have some collusion with the RPG in the sense that the minis can bounce back and forth between the two worlds. But the skirmish game will be this awesome battle for chaos shards that are scattered throughout the board, and it's surrounded by blight walkers that are shrinking in, trying to destroy you. It will also have an adventure companion that you can get. So you can play the skirmish experience in your RPG experience if you want, or if you're just a board gamer and skirmish games where you have epically cool, living mechs and the Bone Army with huge bone shields and the Red Alliance who are these insect weavers that have these giant bugs. If just having a great battle with those type of bigger than life and exciting fantasy characters is for you, that fully works all on its own. There's also going to be an additional source book and a 10 one-shot adventure module that will be launching in 2022. So there's plenty of roadmap, and this is a world you can jump into and take the ride and really dive in deep. It's currently the game, as far as for people to show how to play it. We did a 6-episode series with Satine Phoenix and Amy Vorpal and Becca Scott, as well as Chris Rue and Jeremy Walker. They played six sessions, probably all in, probably about 30,000 people watched those between Twitch and YouTube. And those are available online. Grab them. And I'm also running another campaign with another streaming group called the Mercs of Mischief. And we do a one-shot every month. And we have about probably 2 other streaming groups that are going to begin playing the game, so that there is plenty of content out there if people want to tap into it and see it. And there's also a novel that exists in the world. So the ocean is deep. You can dive on in. I'd love to share a Dropbox link with everyone to get sell sheets and etc. And I don't know, Adam or John, you can tell me the best way to distribute that link.
We can probably put it in the show notes for the Twitch channel, I think. The stream, that might be the easiest way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me grab that for you. But John, did you have any questions about it? I want to close out with a video. It's a brief version of Amy and Satine playing the game. But
Sure.
are there any other questions?
I just want to make sure we find copies of the game, because it sounds really interesting. I'm especially looking forward to the skirmish version, because I'm more of a skirmish gamer myself than the role playing.
Great.
But I'm really curious about when is the skirmish version going to be released? You said that's later this year?
Yeah, so that releases in October. This year we'll be launching it on Kickstarter. And the design is all done, and we're actually working with the manufacturer right now to get minis all put together. It's a huge, beautiful thing, John. It's 39 minis. There's 19 Blightwalkers that surround your board. It's hexagon, and you have armies. The armies has three warriors in your army, and then you have 2 outlanders, which are, so to speak, more like monsters that are a part of your army as well. It could be like a Naga, or it could be a Beastmaster. And there's 4 factions. There's the Red Alliance, which are like almost like the terrorist group. And then there is the Bone Army, which is a militant mercenary operation with huge bone shields, and they like to fight together in a group. There's the Wooden Legion, which they have mech suits that are these living organic mech suits. And then there's the Kingfisher Society, which are the devious masterminds, and their soldiers, are cultists, and they are manipulators. And so you can either win by destroying the other armies, or by capturing 5 of the 7 chaos shards on the board. There's also some scenarios that can be played out, and that'll be launching in October. So we're very, very pumped.
Awesome. And if people want to get Asunder now, where would they go to find that?
So right now we just here securing our distributors as we speak, but most likely here in the US, ACD and GTS, we're still, I don't want to confirm that, but we've just begun getting paperwork together with both of them. And so hopefully, and then obviously overseas, that we are in talks with Asmodee at different areas. So hopefully we'll be able to get that answer to you, but if you can get email addresses to Jessica, myself, and also too, that we have the sell sheets and order forms in this Dropbox link. So let me put that here in the chat, so that people can get that and jump on board. Well, John, you and I may have to I may have to invite you to be the playtesting group.
I'd love that. That'd be great. I think that'll be fun.
Sounds great. I will make.
Great. So I'm going to put that in the link for the chat for the Twitch channel, and we'll also make sure it's in the show notes too for this. Excellent. You had a video you wanted to share as well, you said?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me, I'm going to also share the email address really quickly here. That would be the one to email with any questions. It's my sales rep, Jessica Blair, who's awesome. So here, this is the final video here to share, and this is our awesome. This is awesome. Amy Vorpal is our keeper in this scenario, and this will be like a little 15-minute ride through a gameplay experience.
Real quick, Asunder is a game about people, humans. They're seeking truth, power, and belonging in a world without metal or gods. The world was broken long ago. The gods that once were a part of this world, they left. And with them, they took metal, the precious resource that decided strength and power for these humans. Without this resource and without the balance that deities offer, the world and lands began devouring itself. That means the entire world is going to die. And everyone knows this, and very, very few people talk about it. It's almost like 2020. We do have a very happy and joyful cast here, including myself, but Asunder is not a world of joy. So without further ado, let's hear what our players are playing.
That's right, I am Nero Wayfinder. I am a mainlander. I was born in the agricultural city of East Twin. Of course, all mainlanders only have the option to bond with our own souls. But there we harness the chaos energy, as I plan to do, in service of Mother Gaia. She's spoken to me, She sent me a message. She wants me to sacrifice myself at the perfect moment for her, and I will.
I'm Onyx Obsidian. I dwell from Sky City. You don't know anything about Sky City. Let's just say that Sky City is way better than everywhere else. We can fly. I have something called lighter than air, which means I'm bonded to the Blyce crystal. Everything about me is Blyce crystal. I even wear Blyce crystal shades. Bone shades with Blyce crystal lenses. People say, oh, you're kind of average looking, average height, average weight, average face. I can't disagree with them more. I do some illegal activity. I'm not going to tell you what that is. You'll find out.
My name is Pyrus Olam Goddard, and I hail from the Dachan clan of the Black Isles. My arms have twisting red-inked tattoos that snake up both of them. And before becoming a seeker, I was one of many demon hunters in my clan. While returning home from a particularly difficult hunt, I was separated from my party and stumbled upon a cave wherein I found the most interesting drawings that I can only describe as a prophecy. And in the center of this prophecy is a being. And I have dedicated my life to finding out who that being is.
All right, I am Sonia of the Crystal Grass Tribe in the island of Pakari. And those of us from Pakari, we are essence bonded with beasts. I really extra bonded with one that I'd never seen before. This is a flying jaguar. It's this really black jaguar with these huge condor wings that just fold up against it. It turns out that chaos is what creates these strange creatures. And through that, I was led to Nira. I don't know how tall everyone else is, but I'm like 6'1". I've got big curly hair, and I'm really, really attractive. Bronze skin, like 36, 24, 36.
You all find yourselves on the main island on the northeast side in the acid jungle. But you're blindfolded and you're being brought to a soft landing by Onyx the Skimmer's skyship.
So that is a little hint of the flavor of what is available in the world of Asunder. And there's 6 episodes of that group. And so there's a lot of details that can be presented to an exciting gameplay to be presented to players or potential future players. And so that you know as to the quality and nature of the books and the content. I mean, this is, I was involved with Brian Engard, was one of my writers who created Fade Core, who was one of the team who created Fade Core, and also Rob Schwab, who's done probably everything there is to do in RPGs. We've used high-end art all throughout the books. There's over 200 images that were commissioned. It is a beautiful thing to look at and to feel, and as well to play. And I think as far as displays and demos, they are a lovely thing to see. So John, there is Asunder, and this is the Failed Superheroes Club. Is there any other questions you've got here? I know our time is coming to an end.
No, I just wanted to thank you for coming here today and being our first publisher on the program to chat and tell us about your products. Sure. And like I said, we'll put in the links, the sales sheets, the Dropbox for the retailers interested in the product. And you mentioned, what were the distributions that you're working with again for retailers?
ACD and GTS deals aren't finalized on those. You said that's most likely where we'll, in process. Yeah, we'll end up for retailers, and so we're really pumped about it.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you very much, Adam. Appreciate having you on the show today. And I want to thank everybody who has taken time out this afternoon to meet with us and to be part of the first Friendly Liquid Game Store Day. And so we're back next month with another game store, another publisher, and hope you all have a great day and take care.